brother. So we are all the way live now, Uncle Bill. Back at it again.
I can't believe that we're fucking doing these again. But here we are.
Can't either. See, and this whole quarantine thing, Uncle Bill and myself, we cannot go to the barber, right? So he's got his like Nathan Scott, One Tree Hill hairdo.
I tell you what it looks like.
By God! So no, I'm just kind of growing that out for the hell of it. Because who the fuck am I going? Yeah.
Mine's starting to look like it did like right before we got to the ponytail phase.
Yeah, like Horror Find 04.
Yeah, it's to that point.
Like halfway between like a ponytail and a mullet. From a mullet and ponytail.
I could do a mullet right now. A mullet tail. That'd be like a rat tail and a mullet.
All you need to do now is get like an earring in one ear. You know.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna get my ears gauged.
No, can't get your ears gauged. You got to have those little pearls or whatever in them. Those little studs.
Like Joe Exotic.
Yeah. Which I've only watched the first episode of that, by the way, and I know we've got a shit ton of questions that people, and that's one of them. So we'll get to that, So we got a lot of shit to talk about. But,
yeah, you could probably talk about that for an hour.
Yeah, because that's right up my alley. I haven't watched it yet. I'm kind of saving it, maybe, because I'm like, I watched the first episode. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna like this shit. But now it's almost like it's overdone. Like people on Facebook, like are just posting shit like crazy about it. So,
well, that's the only documentary I've ever seen where like progressively it gets more and more fucking crazy. Like it starts out crazy and then just goes from like 8 to a 10 within like the third or fourth episode.
Right. And I'd never heard. I think a lot of people have never heard that before. So, and President Trump is on the. He's thinking about pardoning him or something like that. I don't know. I didn't see the whole thing, but yeah, he was like, I'll look into that.
Yeah, our president's an idiot. If you didn't already know that.
He is. And you know what's so bad, like even worse, is like 95% of the people around here love Donald Trump.
That's true.
And when you ask them why or try to talk to, I don't ask them why, but you try to talk to them about those. I know Donald Trump. Well, he's something, ain't he? He's something.
He's fucking perfect.
Say,
he's
better than that old Obama. We don't like his kind around here.
Really,
he's born in Ethiopia.
He's from Hawaii. We hate him.
But he was born in Ethiopia. He ain't even American.
He's born some sort of Muslim or something, I heard.
Or where's my backer?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we don't want to go down that road.
Speaking of which, just real quick, I really attempted to watch the new Pet Sematary for about 30 minutes, and that's something else, man, on the shit level.
For some reason, like, there's a lot of those newer remakes that I haven't seen. For some reason, I decided to watch that one. I don't know why, but I had it on Vudu, and I was like, let's check it out. Because I hadn't really, to be honest with you, I don't remember hearing a whole lot about that when it came out.
Me either.
But, yeah, there's a reason why, because it's not very good.
I tell you the exact moment.
It's not bad, actually.
The exact moment when I knew it was going to be shit is the Pascal guy. When he was black, I was like, that's just completely fucking unnecessary, isn't it? Like, there was no reason.
Well, it just seemed like they was just throwing stuff for no reason. Like, just, okay, we'll change it up a little bit, It's just like, there's no point.
Yeah, I mean, here's a spoiler alert. If you didn't know, there's a scene in the movie where like Gage in the original gets killed, and in this one, it's like fucking Final Destination, where it bypasses him, and then a big tanker truck hits the little girl while she's just standing there watching it. It's like,
had a different plan in this Pet Sematary movie. And I usually like John Lithgow in almost everything, but he was totally out of place in this movie, dude.
Yeah, he was.
And it was just like the accent was, it was bad. It was not good.
Yeah, it's just a culmination of everything that can go wrong in a remake, the way they make them today.
Yeah.
Just needless pandering to fucking people.
Well, and that was one too. Like, you remember even the early years of us doing the show, that was one of the early remakes that was talked about and it was never made. Like, I think George Clooney was originally, do you remember this back in the day? Like, he was originally attached to it.
Yeah.
And they never could get it off the ground for whatever reason. And I'm sure the George Clooney version probably would have been better than what came out. But
it couldn't have been any worse. Like the guy that they
that was fucking horrible.
Even
and I've heard a lot of people.
They got,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, even the dude that they got to play the Dale Midkiff character, the father character, what's his name, Lewis Creed. He was like had less personality than that fucking guy did, and I couldn't believe that. Like, the guy that played it in the original was dead enough, but this guy they got was like twice as bad.
Yeah. Not a good one. Oddly enough, I have not seen, and I know that was one of the questions too, which we've got tons of them, by the way. I've heard some good things about the Child's Play remake, but I have not seen it either. And I may check. I've got it on Vudu as well, which I think you have one of my Vudu accounts too, so you could check it out.
Yeah.
That way, if you wanted to, or it might be on Netflix at this point. I'm not really sure, but I've heard some people say that was pretty good. But we'll just have to wait and see. Whenever I feel like checking it out.
I thought the last one they did before that was pretty good. A lot of people shit on it, but Curse of Chucky, I think.
Yeah, it was just like goofy, like low budget. It's kind of what those movies should be. Really, it's kind of what like I always thought the Friday the 13th movie should be. Just crank them motherfuckers out every damn year, you know.
Yeah, and they totally
that's what it should
that.
be. It's not high art. It never has been. No, like, why are you saying, like, oh, dude, I see it now. We must have the one girl from Destiny's Child. She's going to be in it. No, who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's not high art anyway. When you fucking
what's her name?
Rhymes into something,
Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child must face Jason.
Oh.
No, it don't matter. So, a couple of things want to mention on here. We talked about on our last little show that we did. I guess our lethal lockdown, if you will. I saw that from Steve. Steve has a new podcast up, by the way. If anybody out there is interested, what an unprofessional motherfucker doing his podcast. You know what his podcast setup is like, Uncle Bill? I listened to it today. I was that fucking bored. I listened to the podcast.
What?
So it consists of Steve, mainly Steve. Dana comes in every once in a while, laying around on his couch with the recorder, whatever the app is he's recording with. And on this particular episode, this is episode 98. I know because I had to put the damn thing up. He doesn't know how to do that. I had to do it. So, like halfway in, not even halfway in, his arm or whatever covers up the fucking phone, and it's like muffled for like 10 minutes.
Sounds like he's fucking drowning while he's doing it.
And I'm like, set the damn phone on your chest or something. What the hell? But,
oh, God.
Anyway, that is up on the Dead Pit website. If anybody wants to check that out. Talking about, it's his sole purpose in life to buy and watch movies still at the age of 70 or however old he is.
I mean, with the hot job you just gave it, I got to check it out. You know.
Yeah, check it out. So it's the Two Against Podcast, episode 98, baby. But anyway, just something that was just as good as that podcast, maybe even a little bit better, was WrestleMania this past weekend. There was a lot of production that went into that. They had, and I watched it for the very first time in, it may have been ever. I watched it pretty much by myself. Of course, nobody can come up, this coronavirus going around and all that. There's actually one of my coworkers was diagnosed with COVID-19 today.
Oh, shit, I heard about that.
Yeah. Technically my coworker. We don't work in the same vicinity, if you will. But, yeah. Anyway, WrestleMania, it was a 2-night event. They split it up into 2 nights, which I think was the smartest move of the entire show. Because there's only so much you could take of that, man. And I know we were making fun of, you were texting me back and forth of the Boneyard match, which at the end of the day, I think that was the most entertaining thing on the whole damn. It was hokey. It was very much like, like the movie Stone Cold or Roadhouse or something, like very cheesy action like scene. But yeah, I think like they kind of have to do that with Undertaker now. But it was I enjoyed that, but the entire, and to be honest with you, the next night I kind of enjoyed the Funhouse match as well, just because it was just so out there. It was like fucking smoking weed and watching wrestling or something. I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest with you, like, and I don't know if it's where like the live audience wasn't there or whatever, but I think at this point in time, that's really like all they should do, because of the whole WrestleMania. The 2 best things about it, whether or not like you hate the Bray Wyatt shit, which a lot of people seem to do, like the 2 best things were those matches, like, and they were pre-produced kind of matches. I can't believe that John Cena would actually go through with that match, considering like what all is in that match, which is basically like Bray Wyatt's version of how his career failed, of like, and then how he didn't put him over and all that stuff too. So,
well, a lot of people are thinking it may be Cena's last match, or at least for a long time.
I could see that, because I mean that's a pretty good burial of him.
Yeah. But most of the rest of that show, it just like everything seemed so fucking like flat. It was like, I mean, what was it? Like, there were some of the matches that were good. I think Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, they were pretty good. They had a good match, but like,
that's the one I was going to say too.
Yeah. But about everything else, like, I just, like, the Edge and Randy Orton thing was like boring as hell. Like, that lasted for what, 45 minutes almost or something? It was a crazy long, like, backstage brawl.
Anything that has Randy Orton in it, you can about guarantee I'm going to zone out within like 5 minutes. There's just something about him that's like NyQuil. Like, I've never given a fuck about that guy. I don't think I ever will. Like,
What's weird though is that of all the matches though, that was probably one of the better built up ones though, and like the match itself was just kind of like a garbage match, not fun at all. So
I'll tell you what's overall the weirdest part about that show, except for the fact of those 2 pre-produced matches, was I think that the best matches in that entire card were all the women's matches. Like, those were the only matches. If you look at like, it was what was the first one? Was the tag team match between Bliss,
the Kabuki Warriors.
Yeah, which was a good match. And then you had the Charlotte match, and then you had the man match, which I actually thought all those matches were good, or better than the men's matches anyway.
I was kind of like surprised at how quick the Becky Lynch and Shayna match ended. It was just like a real quick, like out of nowhere. Maybe the fact that it was in an empty arena, that was part of the reason. It just seemed like it was a decent match, but it kind of like ended just out of the blue for some reason. It didn't have a build to it.
Speaking of which, what the fuck was the Strowman Goldberg match? Speaking of just in and out of the fucking blue, I was like,
that was the craziest shit too.
Yeah. Okay, so I can summarize this match pretty easy. It's like 4 spears, 3 power slams, and the match is over. That's literally that whole fucking match.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with they don't let Goldberg do a whole lot because he can't.
Yeah, clearly.
He never could, really. I mean, he's a strong motherfucker, but he never. I remember back in the day when we were in high school and Goldberg was just debuting or whatever, he sucked then. He was never like he was green. He's still green because if you really look at it, he only wrestled for WCW for what, maybe 2 years? Not counting because he was injured that one. What was that one time where he busted like a limo window or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
He like cut an artery in his arm. And he was out for like almost a year or something like that.
I'd forgotten about that. I don't even remember who was in the damn limo, but like it might have been the NWO. I don't know.
I can't remember either. It don't matter.
Yeah, he busted it like bled all over the place. And that was
it. He's never been good. So, and then the thing with Roman Reigns, where they didn't even explain that. They never even mentioned Roman Reigns. On the SmackDown before that, they had just made an announcement like that it was going to be Braun Strowman and Goldberg. And they never said why.
I guess they couldn't come out and be like, he's afraid he's going to die. Like, we can't. Like, have him in there.
You might as well. If you're not going to say anything, just tell the truth.
I mean,
just say
totally,
that the doctor wouldn't let him compete or something like that.
I can totally see, though, McMahon doing that because he doesn't want anybody to look like weak in any way. I mean, here's a son of a bitch that won't even sneeze because he thinks it makes him look weak. I guarantee you're not going to say anything about that.
So, yeah, WrestleMania is like, and then the Raw after WrestleMania was even more pathetic. Like, they were, Nia Jax came back, and they were like, oh, it's a tradition. Every year there's some big superstar that comes back or whatever. I'm like,
did anybody miss her? Like, I don't remember
she was
anybody.
Gone. No, I mean, she was gone for like a year or two.
I don't remember anybody even talking about her, and then they acted like it was the biggest deal ever that she was back.
Well, it was like when they added, at WrestleMania, they added Tamina into that damn women's gauntlet match or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like, she's been there for 10 years and has never done a damn thing.
Yeah, I don't understand it either, man. What would you give overall, like, a grade to it? If you could break it up into night 1 and night 2, what would you say?
I would say that definitely night 1 was better for some reason, it seemed. But overall, like, I would give it maybe a 4 out of 10. Maybe. It was just slightly better than WrestleMania 11.
Jesus. I think.
But other than that, yeah, I can't think of a WrestleMania that was worse than that.
I think that based on just like the Undertaker match, I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10 for the first night and a 4 out of 10 for the second night. Just because, like, I really did enjoy both those matches that they produced. I don't know who was behind that. I heard Bruce Pritchard was mainly behind it, but like the way that both of them were done was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the cards they were dealt, they made the best. They could. They were given chicken shit and tried to make chicken salad out of it.
That's right.
I hate chicken salad. I'd rather eat chicken shit than chicken salad.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But they should have postponed it, man. They should have done something else. I wouldn't have done. I mean, if it was my call, which of course it's only the boss's call.
Well, see, that's the thing though, man. Like, I think they should have basically done every single match like those 2 matches because If there's one thing that's fucking bizarre and just unsettling, it's watching like live wrestling without a crowd. I don't know why. It's just not.
It is very weird, yeah.
Does not work.
No. And the weird thing is they have already announced Money in the Bank for like May the 10th or whatever the date is. It's like the first weekend in May.
I can't wait. I'm sure they're probably thinking they're going to be able to do it like with a.
Yeah, Money in the Bank match without a damn crowd, too. 2 Money in the Bank matches.
That'll be great. I'm really looking forward to it.
So the other part, I guess, of the show that we want to do, which we've got a shit ton of these questions, I'm going to get it pulled up here, is kind of a Q&A. I figured it'd be fun to do. We haven't done one of those we haven't done a fucking show in years. Q&A in many years.
I'm ready for it.
I'm sure you can't wait. I'll get it pulled up here. So let's see how many questions we've got. I told people they had until 8 o'clock. We're recording this at 9:22. So we've got about 60 questions on here.
Well, there ain't no way we can do 60 questions.
60. Well, some of this shit we've already talked about.
Let's go to all the fucking $25,000 pyramid where you just shout shit at me. I try to like answer as quick as I can.
I won't scroll through them while I cough the corona. Let's see. Donnie Aldridge, he's probably got a few on here. You remember him, don't
I do.
Don't you?
Yeah.
He said, and this is a serious one, if Steve was a woman, would you do him?
Yeah, I think that's probably be the most unsettling looking woman of all time.
I know, I couldn't imagine. Steve already had some pretty good sized tits anyway, so just put a wig on him.
Buddy, those are pecs. They make titties. You leave him alone.
Yeah, man tits.
Oh.
Them are tots. Somebody was asking if we were going to go live. No. We used to go live all the time on Facebook, but Facebook took away the option to bring a friend in. Even though it's still on there, when you click on it, it doesn't do shit.
That's great. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So if anybody, I know there's OBS or something like that. There's that's kind of like the big thing that everybody's using now. I know absolutely nothing about that, but if anybody does and would like to help, maybe we can do that again at some point. Let's see. Yeah, we had okay. Darren DeFronzo was asking what flavor do we like?
Of what?
What flavor pudding, baby?
Pudding?
Pudding. Like them pudding pops.
Oh, the pudding.
Mr. Cosby like to get these women all passed out and give them a taste of his pudding pop.
If it's a serious question, then you got to go with chocolate.
I would say I usually love chocolate on, for everything. Ice cream, chocolate fudge. But I'm going to say butterscotch pudding. That's probably my favorite.
God.
Do you remember when Wendy's had the Super Bar back in the day?
I do.
And that was the two desserts. They didn't have ice cream. They didn't need no fucking ice cream.
They just had pudding.
They had chocolate pudding and they had butterscotch. They had big 10-pound bowls of that shit.
They also lost their ass on that, which I can totally see.
Oh, I'm sure. I wonder how many pounds of pudding they threw away every week.
And fucking salad. They had the oddest array of shit. They had like tacos, salad, hamburgers, and then like pudding.
Well, they had it in sections. Like it was like fucking. They had like the Mexican section.
Yeah.
And they had the Italian section. You remember that damn garlic bread that they had, that was the best shit ever was. It was just like slices of bread that they cut in half, but they had it like soaked in garlic butter.
Yeah.
It was some good shit. They need to bring back the Super Bar. Not right now, because, they can't.
I was going to say,
that wouldn't go over too well right now.
We're bringing it back.
The Corona Bar coming soon. Oh,
got that fucking sneeze guard on it.
Yeah. That one time, you remember that one time we went to, was it Chipotle or whatever? And they make your shit, they have those guards up or whatever. And this girl couldn't, we were in Ohio or something for some convention, I think, on the way back. And she couldn't understand what the fuck I was saying, like, because of my accent, I guess. And I was trying to, like, point to what I wanted. And she almost come here smacking my damn hand. No, don't put your hands back there.
I remember that now, yeah.
Fuck you. I was like, I'm never coming back. I'm never coming back to Chipotle again, you bitch.
She's fighting Corona even back then for even the idea.
I know. She saw what was, she listened to Sylvia Brown. Sylvia Brown predicted the coronavirus, by the way. Did you read about that?
I did, yeah. You know what else
anyway.
She predicted? A lot of people that were supposedly still alive that were dead.
Yeah.
She predicted a bunch of those.
Well, it's a hit or miss. You can't be 100% correct all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not math.
Let's see. Mike Bowers wants to know what we think of the band Ghost.
I've only ever heard one song of theirs, and it was the Rocky Erickson cover song called "If You Have Ghosts." So that's all I'm basing it on is that one song, and I didn't like it just because I like Rocky Erickson.
I think you didn't like it too because it was like a vastly different version. I mean, it wasn't like his at all. Which I mean, to me, like if you're doing a cover song, that's the way. Even if you didn't like it, but that's the way you should do it. Change the fucking song, make it yours. Don't do an exact copy of the original.
I mean, I agree with that, but it's just I don't like their style. Their style is like an operatic doom metal kind of thing. I don't just like that shit.
I'm not a big fan. I think I might have one of their CDs, but they're okay. They're not, I mean, I think they're a little bit overrated, but I don't know if they're overrated. Among all the horror people, they're overrated. I don't know if they're really that mainstream.
No, I don't think a lot of people know them outside of like that particular subgenre of music.
So, Benji Gebhardt wants to know, have we seen Dr. Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining that came out like 40 years after, and what were our thoughts on it?
I have seen it. I saw it about 2 weeks ago, actually, for the first time. And it probably would be one of my favorite horror films from the last year, at least. The first half of that movie is fucking amazing. And, like, I mean, to the point where I couldn't believe it was made in this past year, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's really that good. And then the second half, when they go back to the Stanley Hotel and everything, it's kind of like it. Like, when you get to the second half, it's like everything falls apart. It's just not, they try to redo specifically like scenes from The Shining with actors that look like the people from The Shining, but are really not. And it's so fucking cringeworthy to watch that.
It's kind of weird that a movie like that got made today, though, really, if you think about how old The Shining is.
That's true.
And, I mean, amongst horror fans, everybody still talks about that movie, but the mainstream, other than like that one scene that you see over and over again, and like Bryan Cranston's doing it, the damn Mountain Dew commercial now or whatever, it's kind of surprising that they'd want to make a sequel of a movie that's 40 years old.
Yeah, well, it's like, to me, when they were doing original stuff from the book, it was amazing, and then they tried to do like, I'm imagining what shit that they thought fans would want in it. So they put like specific scenes and redid them from the original. And it's just, you can't even look at those scenes, man. It's so bad. They try to redo the twins, and they try to redo the Blood, and they try to redo Torrance and all that stuff.
Yeah, I have not seen that movie yet. I do have it. My plan, and it never happened because I bought the 4K of the original Shining. I was thinking, well, that would be perfect if we got a big snow, got snowed in, watched The Shining, and then watched the Doctor Sleep, but that didn't happen. So
yeah,
and but we didn't even come close to getting a decent snow this year.
No, but I think you'll be surprised at how good the first probably hour and a half that movie is, and it just
Michael Jordan, Air Jordan,
hell.
if you will. Have you guys watched Barotick by Glenn Danzig? If so, your thoughts. Is this the horror movie that he made?
I have no idea. I haven't even heard of it.
I think I've heard of it, but I have not seen it. And this is a good occasion too, because there's a lot of movies that keep getting recommended on here. Some of them I have not seen, so maybe the next time we have a show, I can at least watch one or two of them, and maybe you haven't seen them either. I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. After Rob Zombie, I'm done with like musicians making fucking horror films. I'm really.
For some reason, I can't see Glenn Danzig being a filmmaker either. Like that's just not. I don't know. That's just weird. Like
No, probably not.
I would like to see Paul Simon make a horror movie though. I think he could make a good one. Just fucking follow his creepy ass around.
That's true. Fuck.
Christopher Lax, Critter fan.
Yeah, I do.
Your thoughts on? I'm skipping Darren's message, by the way, because we already talked about the Pet Sematary remake, and neither of us have seen Child's Play remake. So that's your one.
Makes sense.
Thoughts on the Friday the 13th franchise rights issues the lawsuits going on right now.
So he's talking about the Victor Miller lawsuit and all that?
Victor Miller versus Sean Cunningham, maybe?
Yeah.
Or New Line Cinema or Paramount or whatever the deal is, I don't know. It's basically the reason there haven't been a Friday the 13th movie in 11 years.
I mean, I don't know the specifics of it. If Victor Miller wrote all the characters, but then he sold the shit as a part of the franchise to whoever, like Paramount or Sean Cunningham or whoever, then I'm guessing it's theirs, isn't it? Like I don't
know. Well, Victor Miller owns the rights to Jason Voorhees, the name. Maybe he wants to get a larger cut of the merchandising, or who knows? Because they've made a lot of money with the Friday the 13th video games and stuff like that. What's going on?
My child just walked in, and now she's gone. That's kind of what happens.
Yeah,
all day long.
You gave that look to her. You like, you get.
No, I just thought it was kind of funny. She just came in here like nothing was going on. That's kind of how kids are.
Well, you need to educate her and tell her you're sort of a big deal on the internet. What the?
I'll tell you what's funny as shit. I just walked over and shut the door. I'll tell you what's funny as shit, though. Like, she has, like, they've all gone back and watched a ton of the videos that we did. And I don't know if you remember, like, the Legend, the Blizzard, Bob, and that kind of stuff. They've watched all those.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they fully understand what's going on, but they like them.
That's killer. That's like a Christmas tradition for them to watch that movie again.
I swear to God, it is.
That's what Blizzard Bob Daddy. I want to see that snowman piss on you.
They really did like that. They were like,
oh, shit.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's continue on. What were we talking about? The Friday the 13th lawsuit. Did we talk about that in detail? I think it's stupid. They need to fucking just come to an agreement and do like a 10-movie deal for 10 years and crank these some bitches out.
There's too much money to be had. There's too much money on the table.
I never understood that. I mean, especially when you've got like there was a sequel that was going to come out, but I guess where all the theaters closed down, it's now like on demand or however they're doing a lot of them now. It was set to come out in the theater. Uh, it was a sequel to that movie, The Boy, that came out like 4 or 5 years ago.
I saw that.
What the hell? And you got that's going to come out. You know for a fact they probably spent some crazy money on that movie. Why don't you just make a freaking like what would be a small budget movie now, like $1 million movie? Get like an independent film crew together and make the damn thing. Bring it out in theaters. People are going to go see it just based on, hey, it's Jason, Friday the 13th. Release it in the fall. There you go. You got, and that's what the Halloween guys did, and it was successful for them.
Okay, how long has it been since they did a fucking Freddy movie? So that matters.
Well, that remake killed that shit. That's dead in the water right there.
I mean, they could easily make something like that and have anybody else play that role, and it'd probably be better. As far as
with the technology, though, technically, you could get a guy in a damn silicone Freddy mask and have Robert Englund do the voice.
That's true.
And just have it like, it could be more like the first couple of Nightmare on Elm Street movies where he's kind of lurking in the shadows. He has a few funny lines here and there, and make it like that. Easy. You could get Robert Englund to do it for next to nothing.
I really do think, though, after watching Halloween, the last one, 2018 one, that you can make a movie like that, and make it successful. Because the more I watch that movie, the more I actually think that's a pretty good movie. I mean, it's a pretty good standalone sequel. I don't know if you call it a sequel, but whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it was like a combination of a remake and a sequel.
Yeah.
So let's continue on here. Do we think, this is from James Boom Boom O'Hagan, do you guys think that movie theaters will last after the pandemic?
No. No, I don't think they were going to last before the fucking pandemic. I really don't think they're going to last now.
Yeah. Who knows when after the pandemic is even going to be at this point either. Like, that's the scary thing. And a lot of these big, like I know Fast and the Furious 15 or whatever the hell it was supposed to come out in May, and they've already pushed it back an entire year. So, yeah, I think a lot of the movie studios, the big budget movies, they're going to do that with, the ones that they think they can make crazy money with. But everything else is going to they're going to be like, fuck it, let's just bring it to Vudu or iTunes or whatever, however people rent movies, put on DirecTV that people rent on there. The movie theaters have been in bad shape for years, though, like you were saying.
Yeah. I just think that whole, when you go on Vudu or anything now, you can do the whole direct theater thing. I think that'll probably be the way they go with the majority of stuff, too. Like, yeah. I don't think they're going to mess with theaters much anymore.
We got Dastardly Dan Richmond. Remember him? He sent us about, it's a music question. He said, are there any new stuff that you guys are listening to? CK, are you still buying vinyl? Yes. I always buy vinyl. I'm kind of selective in what I get anymore, but I've been on a Waxwork Records kick lately. They had a big sale going on. Still do, I think. And I try to pick up all the necessities there. And new music, I don't know what's new that the new Ozzy album is pretty good. Have you listened to any of it?
I have. I kind of agree with you.
Yeah, it's definitely the best album he's come out with in probably 20 years at least.
No, man, like, I've not been listening to any, like, Trivium or whatever the fucking bands are that are coming out now. I just don't care.
Here's one that I know a lot of people that's listening is probably not a big fan of this type of music. It's a high recommendation. It is, have you ever heard of Brent Cobb, Uncle Bill?
Only from you on Facebook. That's the only way I've heard
No
of it.
Place Left to Live. It was his very first album that came out. I don't know if he self-released it or what, when he was like 20. And he's like 32 or something at this point. So, and it's by far the best fucking album that he's ever made. Like, every song on it is really good. So it finally got a re-release. I think it's from like 2006. And he posted like the big long story about how he got this made, but yeah, it's really really good. It's like Americana, country, southern rock mix type deal, and yeah, but yeah, I buy vinyl. I've got quite a bit over the years.
I actually take that back. There is one album that I've listened to that's pretty brand new that I thought was amazing, and it's Sturgill Simpson's "Sound of the Fury." Like, I don't know. Have you listened to that album?
There's a couple of songs on it that I really really like, but I don't have that one yet.
Well, here's the weird part. Like, my dad is the one that got me into that album. For some reason, he loves him and bought that album. And then we were sitting over there, and we listened to the whole thing all the way through. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man, this is not really country, and this is not really like, it's not really anything. It's like a whole other new genre. It's like if you mix.
Yeah, it's almost like Sturgill Simpson's voice with Black Sabbath. Some of the songs.
Yeah,
it's like old school, like hard rock.
And some of it's like Pink Floyd, Yes, kind of mixed with whatever, like country music.
Yeah, but I think that was the soundtrack to an anime movie that he was making or something.
Yeah,
so
I've heard that for Netflix
like
or something.
Yeah, I don't know if did it ever come out. I don't even know.
I don't really know either.
Yeah, but that's the story behind that. It was just it was like a side project, and he decided to release, because he was doing the music for it, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to release the album." So, but yeah, this is one you definitely need to get, Uncle Bill. I can't believe you don't have it.
Oh God, no, I don't have that.
That's a hell of a freaking set. If they ever, of course they will, if they ever, Waxwork Record, they'll re-release that son of a bitch. So let's go. Let's continue on here. Any new thoughts on Eric C. Kahn? He's in jail.
Yeah, that's about all you can say.
That was from John Creasat. Blake Paris, did anything ever happen to the Strand building, or is it just sitting there dormant?
It's still fucking sitting there. Not a damn thing going on with it.
No, it's never reopened. They've never done anything with it. There's not even a church in it, like most old movie theaters.
That's true.
Dustin McNeil, he just had a comment, said, "I still have my Dead Pit shirt. Can't fit in it, but I've still got it." Well, if you need to get a new Dead Pit shirt, FastCustomShirts.com is the place to go. He still has, I think, all the old designs, and you can get them in any size up to 5X.
Yeah, and every new order comes with an enchilada. If you order now,
and if you order $50 or more, you get a Frito pie thrown in.
Yep.
Let's see. What do you all think of Ash versus the Evil Dead?
I love that series.
Yeah, that ended abruptly, didn't it?
Yeah, and I kind of have a negative connotation with that series just because that is kind of what made Bruce Campbell be like, all right, I ain't never doing this shit again. I'm never going to play that character again. But he will, if the price is right.
Well, I just think the approach to it was weird. It was like, I would think that they should have done the movie, and then if the movie was a success, then do the damn show.
But, going back, I thought the first season was amazing. I thought it was, like, really well done. And then it's like, it didn't get better. It progressively just kind of got worse.
The thing that I didn't like about it, and it may have just been, I don't know, I'm picky about stuff like that, is just the cosmetics of it. It just looked like a cheap TV show. They didn't make, to me, it looked, it would have worked better had they made it look gritty and like the first movie. To me, and I know a lot of people don't agree with this, there should have been one Evil Dead movie, and it was the first one. Because technically, Evil Dead 2 was the first one, but it was just it had a bigger budget, and they threw in some more slapstick comedy in it. And the same thing with Army of Darkness was a different movie, but we could have done without it. I think the first Evil Dead is a classic, though.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same thing about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for that matter.
Oh, I'd definitely say the same thing about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, too.
Yeah, I mean, the second one is just that movie, you know, made again with money.
Yeah. Money! Eric Fetchit. What do you guys think of Halloween 18? Are you looking forward to the sequels? And are you watching any of the current Joe Bob Briggs content on Shudder?
Well, I think I already kind of gave away what I thought about 18. What do you think about it?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't think it was like, it wasn't something that was amazing, like, oh, but I had fun with it. We saw it in Knoxville at this IMAX theater, and it was an experience. I enjoyed it, though. I mean, it was kind of cheap, generic. It was kind of like Friday the 13th meets Michael Myers.
Yeah.
But, I liked it. I'm looking forward to the other one, so fuck it.
In terms of Joe Bob, though, I haven't actually watched any of that stuff on Shudder. I've actually got Shudder, but I don't know. If it ain't the original Joe Bob's Drive-In, I just don't give a shit.
I think Steve's probably more of the Joe Bob, aficionado too.
Yeah.
Mike Gillen, I guess that's how you pronounce it. Have you guys seen either Mandy or Color Out of Space? And if so, what are your thoughts on?
Now, Mandy is I believe, the Arnold Schwarzenegger zombie film.
Is that Mandy or is that? Yeah, maybe. No. Is Mandy the one with Nicolas Cage in it?
Fuck, you're right.
Yeah.
Is that?
Maggie, I think, is the one you're thinking.
Maggie, Mandy.
Yeah, because you had me. I was like, wait, because I was thinking of the one with, and I've never seen it. But no, I've never seen either of those, and I've heard a lot of good things about Mandy, though.
I haven't watched either one of them. I don't think that. I tried to actually watch Mandy because it was on Shudder. I think that's where it premiered, was on Shudder. But it's kind of like, who's that fucker, the Alejandro Jodorowsky? It's kind of like that, where it's just shit's just bright and colorful and crazy and nothing makes any sense.
Yeah. Let's see. Ricky Haggard, it's Merle's grandson. Thoughts on David Benoit, the son of Chris Benoit, potentially signing with a wrestling promotion?
Yeah, I have one thought. Please, God, change your name. Just change your fucking last name, please.
I was listening to, I think it was Jericho's podcast, and he had David Benoit on there. And I understand it was his dad. He's still proud of like his dad's wrestling career and all that. But yeah, he had said that he's going not only be a Benoit, but that he was going to try to go by Chris Benoit because that was his middle name was Chris. Or David Chris Benoit or something like that.
Please.
And he had tights already made that was similar. It had the claw marks and stuff.
Dude.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to see that and be like, oh, these are some happy memories I have of your dad. They're just going to be like,
yeah,
there's the fucker that killed everybody.
Did you see the Dark Side of the Ring on Chris Benoit, though?
I did.
On the Vice Network? Yeah, it was a really good show. Like I haven't seen the other episodes yet, but I've got them recorded in there. They did one on New Jack and the Brawl for All. I'm actually excited to see what they have put together for that.
I actually watched that last night. It's pretty good. The one thing about that I actually learned that I didn't know, I guess it was, I don't know how like widespread it was that he actually basically killed her by putting her in a crippler crossface and breaking her back. I mean,
Yeah.
do you know what the fuck how much force you would have to do that? Like, that's just one of the most disturbing thoughts.
That's one of those things where nobody will ever know exactly what happened. Evidently, he just completely snapped for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
No idea.
Yeah, I ain't dealing with that shit. No.
Scott Pliskin, what do you think of Blumhouse's $20 rentals for The Invisible Man and The Hunt? I think they need to make money somehow. I guess they ain't gonna be in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Anthony Luzzi, this was for both of you. Was there any horror movie that you covered on the show that grew on you as time went on? Maybe something you ended up hating even more than before? I would say a movie that grew on me was The House of a Thousand Corpses. That was one when I initially saw it. I didn't really like it at all. I kind of hated it. But and I think we saw that in the theaters, if I'm not mistaken, back in the day.
We did.
I can't remember that far back.
Yeah, we did.
But yeah, I was like, what in the fuck? And it's still like as the movie goes on, it is not very good. But just the atmosphere in it and the look of the movie itself, that kind of grew on me. And still to this day, I don't know what it is, but the Blu-ray of that was one of the original Blu-rays that first came out in like 2008, something like that. That Blu-ray looks fucking unreal still to this day. Like you would think it was almost like a 4K release or whatever. It's very weird that was one of the early Blu-rays and it still looks amazing.
Yeah, it is a movie that, like, when you first see it, at least I didn't get it, but then as it goes on, like the beginning half of the movie is amazing. I think one that I've tried to watch over and over again and actually hate more now than I did then is the Friday the 13th remake. Like, I've tried my best to like that movie, and it is just pure shit. It's worse than I even thought it was at the time.
Yeah, the Friday the 13th movies are kind of, when you see them in the theater, 9 times out of 10 you're going to love every damn one of them because of the crowd and just seeing it with a bunch of fans of Friday the 13th. But then once you go and watch it again, like Freddy versus Jason was kind of like that too.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, that's pretty killer, and then you watch it at home and you're like, yeah, it's all right, and you watch it again, like, so
yeah, it's one of
those. Ryan Guy, what 2 movies do you think deserve a Blu-ray release that has not gotten one?
Jesus, what the fuck has not gotten a Blu-ray release at this point?
Yeah, that's a tough one. The Last Broadcast.
Got the fuck up. God.
Shit.
Christ.
There's still like quite a few movies that have not been released on DVD yet, though, too. Like, Lunch Meat has never come out on DVD. Not that it's classic. I'm just saying. Like, that would sell. Some people buy that. And
it would.
They've never done the. Do you know they're finally releasing Rad on Blu-ray and 4K?
No, I didn't know that.
Vinegar Syndrome, I think, is coming out with it.
I just can't even think of it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's not out on Blu-ray, to be honest with you. I know for me, certain movies, like, I don't know, like Just Before Dawn or some of those Italian movies and shit, I'm fine just having them on DVD. Like, I know Steve's is one that he likes to upgrade all this shit. Like, Beyond the Door, he likes to get the Blu-ray of Beyond the Door. No, I'm fine having the. How good is something like that going to look on Blu-ray anyway? You know?
Yeah, I can't imagine a movie like fucking, Forrest or something on Blu-ray.
The Forest is on Blu-ray, by the way, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I just can't imagine that it's going like.
So, let's see. Questions about Tiger King. You watched all of Tiger King. I still need to watch the other 5 episodes. I watched the first one. Let's see. Have you ever seen the movie Biodome?
Yes, with Pauly Shore.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I remember hearing the name, but I don't think Zachary Wells asked if we could recast John Carpenter's The Thing with the cast of Biodome. Who would play which part?
What the fuck?
He's been smoking some serious weed.
Yeah, I mean that's a little.
Reminds me of something though. Waxwork Records has the second pressing of John Carpenter's The Thing on vinyl and pre-order right now.
Oh Jesus! Well, that's a good soundtrack. Hey, hold on.
It is a good soundtrack.
I'm gonna have to fucking get a cord. This phone's gonna go dead as shit here in a second.
Well, let's do this. How about we do this? Because we've got a shit ton of questions left.
Okay.
Would you be fine doing another one of these in 2 or 3 days, and we'll answer more questions?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, buddy.
Because my phone's about to die too, I think.
Yeah, it's not gonna last much longer.
All right. Well, we'll be back here in a couple of days, and if people still want to ask more questions beyond this, we're cutting it off at Zachary Wells' Biodome thing. Yeah. And then we'll be back here Saturday or Sunday or sometime. Easter Sunday would be a good time to do it, because ain't nobody going to be eating no fucking ham.
No. That'd be a hilarious time to do a show. The Lord
We're going to give you a new DEADPIT episode, but fuck everything else. All right. Well, we'll see you guys in a couple days. And until next time, I'm the Creepy Kentuckian.
I'm Uncle Bill.
Check us out on
.com.
Tommy's right.